Your arteries are probably constricted right now, and you don't even feel it happening. A raw onion sitting in your kitchen can reverse that within 20 minutes. Not slowly, not after consistent use. Within 20 minutes of eating it, your blood vessels start to widen, your circulation improves. Most people never connect these dots because nobody ever explains the actual mechanism. Here's what's wild. Raw onions are in almost every kitchen on the planet. People eat them constantly, but the majority walk around completely blind to what this vegetable is actually doing to their cardiovascular system. They slice it, they eat it, they move on with their day. Zero awareness. If you felt sluggish in the afternoon, if concentration fades by 3 o'clock, if your extremities run cold, there's a reason, and it's probably sitting in your produce drawer right now. The real problem is this. Most people are preparing their onions in ways that eliminate the entire benefit. They're stripping away the active compounds before the onion ever reaches their bloodstream. So they're eating something that looks healthy on the surface, but biochemically, they're getting almost nothing. The vegetable loses its power before they even swallow it. Inside that raw onion is a compound called quercetin. This is the key player. Once it gets into your system, it does something very specific to the inner walls of your blood vessels. Those walls have a name, the endothelium. They're not just passive barriers.
They're living tissue that actively decides how wide or narrow your vessels should be at any given moment. It's constantly making adjustments based on signals your body sends. When quercetin arrives at that tissue, it triggers the release of nitric oxide. That's the chemical messenger that tells your vessels to relax, to expand, to stop fighting against your blood flow. Imagine water trying to move through a narrow pipe versus a wider one. Same amount of water, completely different pressure. Same heart, completely different workload. When your vessels relax because of quercetin, your heart doesn't have to strain anymore. Your blood reaches your brain faster. Your oxygen delivery improves. Your energy shifts. Research published in peer-reviewed cardiology journals has documented exactly this effect. Measurable improvements in vascular function. Improvements in how blood vessels respond to the signals they receive. This isn't theoretical. This is documented across multiple independent research groups. But there's a second mechanism that's even more interesting. When you cut into a raw onion, you damage the cell walls. That damage releases sulfur compounds. These are the exact compounds that make your eyes water while chopping. Your body initially treats them as an irritant, but once they cross into your bloodstream, they do something remarkable. They reduce how aggressively your blood platelets clump together. We're talking about reductions up to 30% in platelet aggregation. That matters because platelets have a job. They're supposed to form clots when you're bleeding. They stop the damage.
But when you're not bleeding, when platelets are clumping excessively, that's when blockages happen. That's when clots form where they shouldn't. That's the scenario that sends people to emergency rooms with no warning. Your blood right now might be thicker than it needs to be, not from anything dramatic, just from years of existing in a system that never asked whether your vessels were being supported or strained. And a single raw onion can start shifting that, but only if you're eating it the right way. This is where almost everyone fails. If you cook your onion, especially if you cook it for any significant time, heat destroys both the quercetin and the sulfur compounds. The longer the heat, the more damage to these active molecules. Caramelized onions taste incredible, but for cardiovascular support, that preparation method defeats the entire purpose. You're eating something that looks and feels like it should be healthy, but the compounds that actually do the work have already been dismantled. You get the flavor, you get nothing else. So how do you actually capture this benefit? First, eat your onions raw. That's non-negotiable. But that doesn't mean you have to eat a raw onion by itself. Add it after cooking is finished. Slice it onto your completed salad. Put it on top of your sandwich after assembly. Use it as a garnish on a cooked dish. Keep it in contact with room temperature or cooler conditions. The chemistry stays intact. The compounds stay active.
Second, pay attention to color. This isn't about aesthetics or chef preference. This is pure biochemistry. Red onions and yellow onions contain substantially more quercetin than white onions. The darker the outer layer, the more protective plant compounds are concentrated inside. Stand in the produce section and treat color like a nutrition label. Darker equals higher bioavailability. Higher bioavailability equals better results. Third, combine your raw onion with a source of fat. Olive oil works perfectly. Avocado works. Even a small amount of nuts or seeds accomplishes this. Why? Quercetin is fat-soluble. Your body absorbs significantly more of it when it travels alongside dietary fat. This isn't optional. This is how absorption actually functions. A raw onion salad with tomatoes and olive oil isn't just a recipe, it's a delivery system. It's specifically engineered to get more of these compounds into your bloodstream where they can actually do their job. Fourth, let your chopped onion sit undisturbed for about 10 minutes before you consume it. That short window gives an enzyme inside the onion time to fully activate those sulfur compounds we discussed earlier. Cut it, set it down, let the chemistry complete itself, then eat. 10 minutes, that's all it takes. The difference between getting the benefit and not getting it. You've probably spent money on circulation supplements. You've probably seen pills promising better blood flow, better cardiovascular function, better oxygen delivery. Most of them are selling you expensive versions of compounds your body could get from a vegetable you already own, and you could buy that vegetable for under $1. The shift happens when you stop thinking about food the way most people do. You're not just eating an onion because it tastes good anymore. You're not just adding it because it's on a recipe. You understand what's happening at a cellular level. You know that quercetin is signaling your endothelium. You know that sulfur compounds are reducing platelet clumping. You understand the mechanism. That knowledge changes everything about how you shop, how you prepare meals, how you think about the ingredients already sitting in your kitchen. Next time you're in the produce section staring at a pile of onions that all look basically the same, you're going to make a different choice. You're going to reach for the red or yellow variety. You're going to think about raw preparation. You're going to think about pairing it with olive oil. You're going to think about letting it sit for 10 minutes. You're going to understand that this isn't just a vegetable. This is something your blood actually needs. If this resonates with you, hit the like button. It signals to the algorithm that people want to know the actual science behind their food, instead of just being told what to eat.
Subscribe if you haven't already, because there's another ingredient sitting in almost every kitchen right now doing something to your body that's completely misunderstood. Something that's affecting your health in ways you've never been told about. We're breaking that down next. Stay tuned.